In today's video, I'm getting hyper aggro with some of the new wolves from the Hobbit set, but not in the shell that you may have been expecting. Many of the wolves from the Hobbit are, of course, in Golgari colors, but I've been having a whole lot of trouble making that green-black deck work properly, so it's going to take a little bit more testing and tuning. So instead, for now, we're jamming two of the black wolves into a hyper aggro Rakdos shell to see if they have a home here. The first one, of course, is the Nighthowl Pursuer, a 1/1 for 1 with Menace. It also has Ferocious. Whenever this creature attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, this creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. So we are definitely built around the idea of getting up to 4 power so that we can enable the Pursuer to get in for some good solid damage on turns 3, 4, 5, whatever, if we make it to that point. Then, of course, we also have the Descolation Prowler, the other wolf from the Hobbit, a 2/2 for 2. It says pay 2 life. This creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Activate this only once each turn. You can see the obvious synergies between the Prowler and the Pursuer. They're going to work together very nicely. Another card that's going to work very well with power 4 is the Picnic Ruiner. I think this creature is maybe a little bit underrated, and we still have a little bit of time with it left in Standard. It is a 2/2 for 2. It says whenever this creature attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, this creature gains double strike until the end of turn. So this thing is capable of a lot of surprise damage. If we can get it on the board, give it haste, and swing in for, maybe 8 or 10 damage out of nowhere. Of course, we're playing Slickshot Show-Off because this will enable the ferocious ability of the Pursuer very well. And of course, it's just Slickshot Show-Off, so why not? And then a couple of solid 1 CMC creatures, Burnout Bashtronaut and Higher Claw. I love these two creatures. A little bit of reach in the form of Burst Lightning if we need to finish off the opponent, or maybe we need to get rid of a pesky blocker. We can use this in that case. But mostly we're going to be looking to pump up our creatures. We're playing 4 copies of Wild Ride, 4 copies of Felonious Rage, because I wanted to have a lot of haste enablers in the deck. And then finally 2 copies of Dreadmaw's Ire, just in case we need trample in some situations where the opponent has a bunch of 1/1s and they keep chump blocking our double striking Picnic Ruiner. Finally, you don't leave home without your Callous Sellsword burned together if you're playing a Rakdos Aggro list, so 2 copies of this card in the main or in the deck as well. And that's the list. So we're going to hop into the arena and see if we can just roll over some opponents. You know what we're doing with this one. Probably going to be some fast games. See you over in the games. I did make a quick little change to the mana base. I looked at it a little bit more before jumping into this first game, and I decided to put in a couple of the, what do you call them, the Marvel superhero basic lands, the ones that require you to have a basic to activate, or they turn on first turn when they come in. The Rakdos mana base is a little sketch because we're leaning into the Verges and those new superhero lands, and none of them are particularly good. So we're just kind of in this weird situation where if you don't find your Blood Crypt, things can be a little bit funky. All right, this hand, oh man, we're in a weird spot, but I guess probably what we're just going to end up doing is putting out the Pursuer, the Higher Claw, and then hoping that we find... What we want to find is one of our pump spells on the following turn. If we find one of the pump spells on the following turn, maybe we can almost kill our opponent, because what we can do is go Slickshot Show-Off, pump it up with Felonious Rage or Wild Ride or whatever. Hey, called it. Now, does the opponent have Sadness? Let's see. Do you have Sadness for us? No, they don't have anything. So this is what you kind of want to see, where you can just go absolutely not so. The problem is the opponent is very clearly on Kona, and if they man, oh man, these days the ladder has been a little bit rough for me. Obviously trying some new strategies and running into just people having it. Everybody's got it these days. Everybody's also on the play. I think I'm like 4 or 5 I feel like I haven't been on the play all morning. And the opponent does that. That's cool. So we have our Wild Ride. I guess what we do is we just try to put the Wild Ride onto the Higher Claw. This is going to be the creature that... It looks like they're trying to tap down some stuff. Sure. And now we have our Prowlers online. We also have the Burst Lightning to maybe be able to hit them. What could this possibly be from the opponent? Okay, it's a Meringue River Regent. Well... All right. Cool. So sometimes the opponent doesn't have every single answer that they could possibly need, and if they don't, this deck is going to be pretty good even on the draw. I think we can put out enough power to maybe run over the opponent. So good start. You like to see that. What you don't like to see is Kona on the other side of the field. So let's not have any more of that. Game number 2, we want more of the same. We want some good, cheap, early creatures and just a few pump spells. We have our mana. Mana's a little sketch. We don't have a single one of our pump spells, but we do have the turn 1 Pursuer into the Descolation Prowler, and that's kind of what we came here to do. So seeing if we can make the synergy between these two cards work out. If the opponent doesn't have a way of removing the Pursuer on turn 1, hey, an Elusive Otter. Hey, they're playing, okay. So the opponent is on, you better believe I'm doing this, is on Azorius Beatdown, I guess, Azorius Otters, and that could be a bit of a problem for us if we don't end up, we need to find a whole lot of stuff. This Prowler was not a good draw. We need to find lands, and we need to find pump spells. The good news is a Belladonna Took is not the most threatening thing to see on the other side of the field. We need to find better cards than these ones. But you know what? We do get to put out the Bashtronaut, and we do get to put out the Descolation Prowler. So that's okay. This is when this attacks. So you got to make sure you pump up your Descolation Prowler before the Pursuer attacks, because you want that trigger to be going off every single time. The opponent's down to 8. We're going to put another Wolf onto the field, and this is a pretty good board for us. If we find a pump spell, Dreadmaw's Ire is probably going to be the absolute best one for us to find. Also, quick little note, we can do Stolen Goods. We do have the Starting Town in the deck, so if we do need access to green mana for the Picnic Ruiner to use its ability, it is there. I don't know. Is it going to really come up? Maybe. Probably not. Okay, a Mischievous Mystic from the opponent. What does this card even do? Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token. That's going to be pretty good. The Belladonna Took also probably going to gain them a little bit of life here, and also serve as a 3/3 blocker for our team now. But we do have Menace on 2 of our creatures. We do have 4/4 creatures that are coming in. They're going to be throwing their stuff underneath our creatures, and we have okay follow-up with the Picnic Ruiner. You know what? Picnic Ruiner looking okay to maybe put +3/+3. Distribute 3 counters among any number of targets. That, you know what? Let's do that. So we want to probably put it here, and be good. We're going to put 2 on the Burnout Bashtronaut, getting it up to a 3/3. And then we'll activate our Prowler. And let's attack in like this. I'm not going to just go ham and activate both Prowlers. We can activate it at instant speed. We wanted to do one of them, again, like I was saying, because you want to have the Pursuer getting the ability. But if they just chump block something with it, then what's the point of pumping it up for 2 life? See, here. I'd rather just, take out the Elusive Otter, save 2 life. That works for me. So we are getting in for just a little bit of damage, and we don't need to risk our life total anymore. We're already low enough, but they do have 5 points of damage on the board. We're down to 10. We're shields down. It's not inconceivable to imagine the opponent being able to actually kill us in this spot, but they're gonna need a good string of cards to be able to do it, I think. The bigger problem is us not actually being able to get in with these Mischievous Mystics making so many 1/1s. And now, actually, the 1/1s are going to also be drawing cards for them. They're down to, I think they played out a land for the turn, so they are down to just 1 more card. But still, our position is a little bit sketch with things. The good news is I don't need to use the Descolation Prowler pump up anymore. I can just put +1/+0 onto the Bashtronaut to get the trigger out of the Pursuer, so I don't need to risk my life total so much. Where I don't feel safe right now. The opponent down to 3, though. They are going to have to put a lot of, they're going to have to put something in front of all of our creatures. They can't really attack in. But these Mystics are kind of cool, actually. I like the art on it. That guy's having the time of his life, floating above some beautiful tropical island with all of his fairy buddies. Some people really do live their best lives, don't they? Okay, and then an elusive otter. So thank goodness that the opponent wasn't able to put a creature, another token on the board for the third trigger on the Belladonna Took, because putting +1/+1 counters on everything would have made things just a little bit more difficult for us. We want to see Dreadmaw's Ire off the top. That's the card that wins it for us. I don't think there's actually anything else that's going to win it for us. It's really only the Ire. Otherwise, we are just putting stuff on the board and going from there. Tactical Goat thinking long and hard about every play that they're about to make, and that is a whole lot of fun for me. So I get to load up the Bashtronaut as we planned, and we're just slamming in. We have really no choice in the matter. We do have good follow-up now with this mountain because we can put out the Burnout Bashtronaut and the Picnic Ruiner. The problem's going to be when I have to make decisions about chump blocking, not chump blocking, but rather pumping up the Belladonna, or sorry, the Descolation Prowlers to save them. Wow, the opponent is... Okay, I'm fine with this. I'm actually super fine with it. If they can't allow... Alright, so they lose their entire board here. Am I right in this? Yeah, and we just lose 2 of our creatures. So that is real rough for the opponent because we get the follow-up. And as long as they're not sitting on a miraculous planes into Day of Judgment, we should be okay. Oh no, I don't like when an opponent says nice like that. It makes me feel like they got my number. Like, oh, look at that. They just did exactly what I wanted them to do. Nice. Opponent says good game. Why am I saying good game? Okay, okay. I don't like when they say good game right before they hit you with a Day of Judgment. Of course, this deck doesn't have a Day of Judgment, but me speaking like this really goes to show the trauma that has been placed on my shoulders over the last couple of days. That was a cool deck. I really like what the opponent's doing. I think this is one to maybe make note of to mess around with in the future. Did a quick little restart. I don't know what it was. I had the little blue plus arrow on my cursor and it was bothering me. Opening hand, beaut. What a beaut. You love seeing this. We have a hand smoother, don't we, game? Can you... Dark Fortress is what it's called. What do you think the name of these lands is? You know, obviously these are called Verge lands and Shock lands, but I don't know if I've seen anybody come up with a good name for the Dark Fortress. Anyways, the hand is a little sketch, especially drawing more mana, but you know what? The mana is actually not too bad because it allows us to save a little bit of life. Next turn, we can go out with a Higher Claw. Ooh. Okay. Okay, not what I was expecting when you see Jeskai colors, but I do like it a lot. Are they going to throw away a Jackdaw Savior? That's cool. From here, we have choices. We can put the Picnic Ruiner onto the field. We can also just go Higher Claw, shoot the opponent twice, which I don't hate. Conserve a little bit of my life total, because I think the opponent is probably on a bit of an aggressive plan. And if we do end up finding a pump spell for the Picnic Ruiner to give it haste, that could be a pretty good attack from our side of the field. Also, just Slickshot Show-Off into the Stolen Goodies. Maybe that's a way to go about things soon. Definitely playing out the starting town on the next turn. So we'll have 4 mana on turn 4, but the opponent on the play with their Hardened Academic. I don't know what it means when an opponent throws away a Jackdaw Savior, though. Oh. That's what it means. I'm so glad the opponent gave me the explanation immediately. Hey, why'd you throw away the Savior? It seems like a pretty good card to play on turn 3. Oh, yeah, Helping Hand. That card exists. Right. Such cool art on it. Whoa, love it. Don't love Practiced Offense, double striking Hardened Academic, coming in for 10 damage on us. Oh boy. I think someone over here is living their absolute best life, and we are sitting here with Higher Claws and Slickshot Show-Offs. So unfortunately, I actually have to put out the Slickshot Show-Off as a chump blocker. And the opponent says GG, which, yeah, probably. I think it is well and truly over. When you get hit by a practiced offense on turn 3 after the opponent goes turn 2, turn 3, yeah, that was a really good turn 3 from the opponent. I love that, right? Bringing back the Daw, and then do they have trample as well? Do they also have a way of giving trample? No, they just decide that they want to gain a little bit of life, and you know what? That's probably a pretty good way to go about things. We have a very, very anemic Burst Lightning, and there's really nothing we can do here. So the opponent on a very cool list. You'd like to see some people doing something a little bit unique over here, and I suppose there's really no point in even bothering. We could hit the Jackdaw with the Burst Lightning, but Hardened Academic unanswered. Quite the threat. Next one. Okay, game number 5. We are on the draw again. I mentioned it. This morning has been a very heavy draw morning for me. Ooh. Well, I suppose we can... is it better to get rid of the Felonious Rage? This does leave behind a 2/2, so maybe we'll just get rid of one of the Wild Rides and draw a second Felonious Rage. Why not? So we are definitely on the Slickshot Show-Off. Please save me, savior of Magic plan. And hey, the good news is Cecil on the opposite side of the field means the opponent is going to be doing a little bit of damage to themselves. Yeah, okay. Sure. A Picnic Ruiner for the following turn. If we end up finding a land, we are going to be able to put out a ton of damage on the opponent. Picnic Ruiner plus Wild Ride plus Felonious Rage at some point can represent tremendous damage. Strategic Betrayal, that's like, man, the opponent is all about exiling all of my stuff. That's rough. Land, please. Okay. So, how ham do I go? I think I go full ham, right? In this case, I think that's the situation. Oh, maybe I don't want to go full ham. Hold up. Maybe I made a mistake here. Because what this does is it flips the Cecil. I think at this point, I'm already too deep. So we're just going to hit the opponent for a cool 13. Which, you know what? That's not the worst, and then the opponent's going to have to deal 2 more damage to themselves with the Cecil to be able to flip it into the White Knight. No, that's not what he's called. Redeemed Paladin. But that's going to be representing a 4/4 life linker that's pretty good on defense, and if the opponent has a way of removing my Picnic Ruiner, they go after the Picnic Ruiner, which, unless, if they have also, what is it called? One more spell. Okay, I could go out with the Howler. It's a riskier... No, the Felonious Rage actually doesn't kill the opponent. So this does kill the opponent, though. Wow. We got a little bit lucky that the opponent ran out of removal. But, I mean, how many removal spells could they possibly be packing, right? I think... How many did they have? Ruthless Negotiation. How do you feel about attacking people's hands like this? I don't know. Ruthless Negotiation is one of those cards that I think looks enticing, but probably not good enough. Asian Panda Rule. Okay. We got our Burnout Bashtronaut and a whole lot of hopes and dreams. Let's try it. Burnout Bashtronaut has never once disappointed me. It's one of those cards that... can go all the way, right? Surely somebody who's playing at... Hey, Slickshot Show-Off's all right. So let's get in for hopefully 1. No Burst Lightning, please. No Burst Lightning, please. Yeah, we sneak that one in. And we're going to be taking damage no matter what. We're going to definitely be plotting away this Slickshot Show-Off, so we may as well put out the starting town while we can. And say to the opponent, hold up your removal if you got it. Opt was actually the answer from the opponent, and they are gonna just be playing full on. Is it gonna be, is it aggro, or are we doing elementals? What are we doing, opponent? How are we going to be killing me today? Well, not the best draw. You don't really want to see another starting town. Probably what I guess it doesn't really matter. I was about to say I should have probably put out the starting town beforehand, but all we're doing here is pumping up the Burnout Bashtronaut, hoping that the opponent doesn't have a Burst Lightning and we can get in for 2 cheeky damage. That's all we want to do. Yeah, maybe I should have put out the starting town so I could have at least Felonious Raged. Ooh, talk about your unexpected situation. Yeah, well, opponent's like eyeing up the Burnout Bashtronaut. Like, surely they're going to do something, right? Okay, we do have a lot of damage in hand. So if the opponent kind of goes shields down for 1 turn, which this might be the turn, I definitely feel like they're holding up. They must be holding up something though. They keep looking at the Bastronaut. Don't look at the Bastronaut. Come on now, get out of here. A little punch. Boop. That sucks. But it's fine. It's fine. So if I want to do the stuff, I need to take a lot of damage. So I think with them at 1 mana, this is the turn where we kind of just go Burst Lightning on the dome. This is going to trigger max speed with the Burnout Bashtronaut as a double striker with some pump spells. You know, what are they going to do? So if I do Wild Ride now on the Burnout Bashtronaut, they might be incentivized to hit that instead of the Slickshot Show-Off. But do I actually want to have... Is it better for me to let them kill the Slickshot Show-Off, or is it better for me to... I don't know. I actually don't know. Both of these are... They're going to have to kill the Burnout Bashtronaut here. If they have the ability to do it. I mean, this is lethal damage coming in on them right now. So what do you have at your disposal, opponent? It's got to be a Burst Lightning. It's felt like a Burst Lightning this whole game. The opponent just keeps checking the creatures and they're not doing anything. Do something. Or do nothing. Come on. They're thinking about it. Who do we want to kill? The Slickshot Show-Off or the Bashtronaut? They're both so dang threatening. I hope they kill the Slicky. There's the Burst Lightning. Okay. So they say good game. Do I want to pump up the Slickshot Show-Off a little bit more? It's not good game, opponent. You actually have... That was the right card that you needed. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. The opponent says, oops. We got nothing. I got nothing over here. I needed that Bashtronaut to go the whole distance. Sleight of hand. They were definitely afraid of maybe a full bore. Full bore? Definitely. That's what they were afraid of. All right. All I can do is put Wild Ride onto the Slickshot Show-Off and hope that it resolves and go in on them for 6 damage. I can't imagine. Yeah. So here's where we absolutely lose the game. Eddimer Crab. We are still at 16, so we still have time. If they end up putting out like a Sunderflock, it's not going to be such a big deal, but I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. This is why, I mean, Rakdos is cool. It's a whole lot of fun. I think it's neat, but if you're just playing aggro, you probably just want to play Is It Aggro. Being able to give your creatures hexproof, protecting your creatures when they are at those pivotal moments, it's just so important, right? And now this Slickshot Show-Off is probably just going to be locked down for the rest of the game. Okay. Island, Sunderflock, them bouncing... I mean, we got enough mana. I don't really care if they're going to bounce the Slickshot Show-Off back to hand. The problem is they got a 5/5 Sunderflock as a blocker. So probably we're never getting in, and they just have lethal damage on board now. So Dreadmaw's Ire. Dreadmaw's Ire is the only card off the top of the library that's going to help us get a dub here. Or Callous Sellsword. Maybe? Callous Sellsword works? Yes. We got draws. We got outs. They're tapped out. Come on, deck. Felonious Rage one more time. You know what? They only have 14 points of damage. So we're going to wait. I should have plotted the Slickshot Show-Off. That was dumb. But I guess maybe it doesn't matter. They're either going to have the answer or we're going to be able to find one of our 2 cards that we need. I don't think... maybe they could have Spell Pierce. Maybe that 2 mana is going to come back to bite me. You send in both. You got to send in both. Yep, here we go. Even another creature wouldn't be so bad if we can give Menace to something in haste. Maybe that could work out. Picnic Ruiner. Okay. Well, now the 2 mana... I really regret not plotting the Slickshot Show-Off, but it happens. Once in a while, you dumb it. It doesn't... This is very futile. It doesn't really matter whatsoever. They probably have another Eddie Crab sitting there. And if they have another Eddie Crab, you know, just tap down everything and we say GG and we move on to the next game. I mean, this is already over anyways. This is literally not enough damage for us. We can't even punch through the Thunderflog. So I'm expecting another Eddie Crab. Come on now. This opponent is a little bit too careful for me with a lot of these choices. I don't think this isn't even a decision. We're tapped out. That card's annoying. You gotta like pay things into it. Okay, fair enough. Takes time. GG. That's a rough one. We had our opening a turn ago, but the game decided that we needed another Felonious Rage. Right? That's what it's called? Yeah. All right. No more of all these opponents having answers for our stuff. Actually, you know what we need is our deck to just cooperate a little bit better. This is not really cooperating, but it's not the worst opening hand that I've ever seen. Burnout Bashtronaut, it did a lot of work in that last game. It was close to being the hero. I really wonder, had I pumped up the Slickshot Show-Off with the Wild Ride instead of the Burnout Bashtronaut, the opponent probably would have been incentivized to hit the Slicky. Would that have resulted in a better outcome in the end? I don't know. Well, let's go. It doesn't matter how I go. Actually, it's probably better to play out the Verge because this gives us all of our mana. And let's just hit the opponent for a good amount of damage here on turn number 2. Next turn, we have our Picnic Ruiner that we can send in with haste again. And maybe we'll get up to max speed very soon, possibly. Now, if they put out a chump blocker, we're definitely not going to be doing that because there'll be no point. But ooh, with that, we're 100% crashing in. This is just like the ideal draw for us, right? And now we have the follow-up Palace Sellsword for a later turn. And this is just a good amount of damage. It's not lethal. Not lethal, but it's kind of cool. Imagine these were maybe the Wolf, and things would be definitely hitting a little bit harder. Exhibition Tidecaller. We are against a mill gamer. I can get behind that. And a Boomerang Basic for our poor Burnout Bashtronaut to mill our... Those were good cards. I wouldn't have hated to have the Felonious Rage, that's for sure. So, I guess it doesn't really matter what I do here. We just swing in. They can't block the Burnout Bashtronaut because it has Menace, and then we can fling the Picnic Ruiner to win the game. Kind of hoping to see a few more of these wolves. I don't know what's going on. Why are the wolves hiding? Hey, they're the wolves. Hey, okay, and opening hand looks fine. We get to go turn 1 Higher Claw on the play finally. Actually, I haven't been counting it. It's very much one of those like confirmation bias things. You're on the draw once and you're just like, oh, I've been on the draw for so long. I've been on the draw my entire life. I've never seen the play. That's just the way the brain's gonna work, right? The opponent though on Azorius, and Azorius might mean bad news for us if they are able. Ooh, that's a good draw. So I think I'm kind of fine just putting out the Burnout Bashtronaut, getting the max speed situation going, and maybe lowering my life total ever so slightly with the Descolation Prowler. Getting in for, 5-6 damage this turn, maybe? What do you got for me? What's your play here?
We're gonna wait until we go to damage. Okay, these are blocks. Blocks are done. They don't have any surprise attackers. I don't know if it's better in this case to put the +1/+1 on the higher claw or to do the Descolation Prowler. I'm not sure. Maybe spreading things out would have been a little bit better for me. Let's put out another Prowler. Slicky can come down with haste on the following turn, so we don't necessarily need to rush it out or plot it out right now. And they just put a tap Hollow Fountain onto the field. Okay, well, I think because I drew the higher claw, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try tracking some of these maps, maybe try to find a land. Okay, fine. Let's do one more of those. And then I think we're just going to put out the... I don't think I want the second Slickshot, actually, surprisingly. Yeah, put out another higher claw. It's fine. Ooh, they got some counter magic. Maybe no more lies? Okay, cool. Well, we're crashing, and 16 life, not such a big deal. I don't mind. I'll go all the way down to 2 life with this Descolation Prowler if they would let me in this matchup. My life total is so irrelevant right now. What's very relevant, though, is the board wipe that's about to hit us, but we do have the follow-up here. Do I want to... No. I was thinking, like, do I want to put a 2/2 detective on the board? And the answer is almost certainly no. Oh, man, that's awkward. That's a lot of slick shots. Okay. So we're just going to plot, and we're going to plot, because we don't actually have the damage with just 1 slick shot and Felonious Rage. It would only be 5 damage. But taking them down to 2 does have some merit, because it means that they don't necessarily have the ability to put out a shock land. It's something. Picnic Runer, kind of cool, right? Okay, let's see the counter magic that you may have. No more lies. Decline. Slickshot Show-Off number 2. Decline. Picnic Runer coming in for 8 damage off the top. Baby, this is why we put the Picnic Runer. He's here to ruin Nev's picnic. Steal all his food. Get in there for 8 damage. Slickshot Show-Off, the real hero, taking the bullets and then allowing Picnic Runer to slide on in. 3 more games. Having some fun. Not... I mean, I guess we're seeing the aggro stuff. We're seeing the effects of haste. We get to go first. We got finally Dreadmaw's Ire. That card, I was starting to think that it did not exist anymore. Mana is going to be a little bit awkward. Man, Verges. They are so trash. Aren't they just the worst? Sometimes they're awesome in some color combinations, but since we don't have like the full... I don't know. We need... I don't know how it was determined that black was going to be the top one here. Oh, that sucks too. It's kind of fine though. So, we have really no choice but to attack in with the Burnout Bashtronaut and probably just put a second Burnout Bashtronaut on the field. The other option is to have the ant. Okay, I can hold up the Burst Lightning. Maybe holding up the Burst Lightning is actually a better choice here, because if they put out a growing creature, we're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. They don't. So maybe I just shoot the Aunt May? Or no, I don't need to do that. Aunt May's fine. Let's leave Aunt May on the field. Okay, Burnout Bashtronaut. Still a little bit awkward now, because I need to make a choice of whether or not I want to give this Burnout Bashtronaut haste. And I think it is probably going to be the correct choice. And so now what we're setting up to do is on the next turn, shoot the opponent with the Burst Lightning, which will give us max speed, and then 2 menacing double strikers with instant speed spells. However, this swamp sucks. I think I actually need to go back and reevaluate the mana base a little bit more. Again, it's awkward because we have these Verges that are kind of saying, hey, this thing's going to be absolutely useless to you in a mostly red deck unless you have the requirement of Swamp or Mountain. Then we also have you have to have a basic land situation going on with... Oh, they're so dead.
the basic land situation going on with the other ones. I don't know what they're called. Oh, wow, we're actually taking so much more damage. Aunt May doing a lot of work over there. Oh, that's good. That's not bad, right? So, it's actually not great, because we actually can't even activate it cleanly. And I would like to do the double strike thing, but I think probably what we just need to do is turn on the Felonious Rage and attack in with everything. I don't know if I want to be putting the Burst Lightning now on the Starscape Cleric, because it is doing a lot of damage to me. Okay. It's fine. This is good enough. Okay, next turn we can do the big thing, and we have some options now to maybe stop the drain that's coming in. If they just put out the Halia, we'll be okay. Anyways, the mana base for Rakdos is, I think, maybe one of the big things that's really holding back Rakdos from being more viable as a... Yeah, we hit... Okay, do we actually know? Do we hit the Aunt May, or do we hit the Starscape Cleric? So what does this say? At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life and lost life, and each opponent lost life. So at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Fine. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 bat. They did lose life, right? I think they lost life with the starting town. So, oh man, I don't know what I want to do here. I think I want to hit the Aunt May before they gain life. The Starscape Cleric is not a blocker, so that means it's going to be very awkward for them to have to choose who they want to block here. And they can only block one thing. We find the Slickshot Show-Off. We just slam the Slickshot Show-Off. Right? And then we have more than enough damage because we put the pump on the creature that doesn't get blocked, and that's just going to represent 6 damage. They're only going to... Yeah. Wow. Sketchy one. Very sketchy one. Unfortunately, the Prowler not getting up into lethal damage. Right? Oh, did I miscalculate something here? Am I going down to just... Are they going down to 1? They're going down to 1. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is... I think I just threw away this game by... Was it better for me to... Oh, I think I messed it up. I think it was better for me to not put out the Slickshot Show-Off and then pump with the unblocked Burnout Bashtronaut, because it has Menace. They could only block one thing. And then hit them with the Dreadmaw's Ire as well, and it would have been 8 damage. They were at 9, correct? I think they were at 9. And they take us down. I threw that game away. It's all right. It's all right. You know what? Once in a while, you got to do some misplays. The Slickshot Show-Off, you just see it and you're like, yeah, throw out Slicky on the field. But I'm pretty sure they were at 9. I would have been able to get this up to 8 damage, 9 damage with this, and they would have blocked one of the Bastronauts. Yeah. I threw it away. Oopsie poopsie. Let's do a little bit better for our last 2 games, right? We gotta recover. So far, the performance has been pretty poor. A little bit too focused on talking about the land situation, I think. But these lands look okay because we do have our... Actually, this is what you want to see. It would be nice if we had the turn 1... what is it called? It's not Stalker. This is a Prowler. I don't know what the other one's called. The 1 CMC one. Just to have it on the field to show the cool stuff. But as is the case, the cool cards that we want don't always come out to play. Let's put out the Prowler. Prowler's going to be a pretty good blocker against this Keen-Eyed Curator because we can pay 2 life to get it up to a 4/4. Put it in front of the 3/3. I'm sure the opponent is very well aware of that, and they are therefore not going to attack in. So it's just kind of like saving us 3 life. And what we want to see is land off the top of our library. Please give me some lands. Okay, that's fine. We're not going to be shooting our opponent's Paw Patch Recruit, so that is okay in my book. And there is the Callous Sellsword. So I suppose what we're doing is we're just attacking. And we're going to see...
how they end up blocking. If they double block on the Burnout Bashtronaut, that would be pretty swell. I think it's fine. Get in for a little bit of extra damage and put out a second Prowler because it's just a pretty great blocker, and it's going to be really nasty for the opponent to have to deal with on the following turn. Also, this time around, we do have the Trample, which has been sorely lacking from this deck. I feel like, or these set of games, I just cannot find that Trample, and it's really bumming me out. Now, I might be a little bit more cautious about how I take damage going forward. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. All day long, right? Lessons learned. Okay. And there's the Prowler, or Pursuer. It's called a Pursuer. So, how much damage output do I actually have? If I put out the Pursuer and I give it haste, it will become a 5-power menacing creature. They can't block the Burnout Bashtronaut because they'll probably have to block these because that would be representing enough damage. But I think probably it's not the way to go. I feel like it might just be attacking in with the 2 Descolation Prowlers. How much do I just have lethal damage though? This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to attack full. And we're going to see how they block. If they don't block anything, we get a cheeky kill. If they do block some stuff, they're going to go down to basically 1 or 0 creatures on board, and I'll be in a pretty good position after that. So I think I just have to force the issue here. Double block on the Burnout Bashtronaut would be interesting, though. Okay. Definitely we're going to be trading this away. And then, so still, so if I do this plus this is going to represent another 4 damage, 6 damage. It's not enough to go through, right? I'm very cautious right now because I just threw away a game and I don't want to be an idiot again. I could just do this though. And hold up. And if okay, so this is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I found the line because I got burned together. Right? Wait. No, I did have to take a minute and think things through. Oh, thank God. Why are aggro decks so much harder to play in the morning? Or just when you have a smooth brain, I guess, is the situation. Okay, we managed to find the way to go about things. It was probably super obvious, but I don't know. I was being very cautious in the eyes of an Ouroboride. Doesn't matter. We got to win. It's games like that really make me wonder how bad I am, or rather, how often am I just missing lethal when I know people pointed out lethals in videos, and it's always good because the goal is to try to get better and better and better, right? That's what we want to try to be doing. Elf? Oh, sure. And the game is hard. The game is very hard. I know there are times when I see people making comments like they try decks out and the decks just don't necessarily work out for them. But the thing is, like, maybe you just got to get used to the lines and play, do more reps with the deck and really try to figure out the inner workings of it. The game is a lot harder than people maybe recognize at times, and missing lethal is going to be a thing. I missed lethal obviously 2 games ago. I almost missed a lethal there in that last game just because I wasn't choosing the correct way to go about things. Like, yeah, it's tricky. Oh my God, this is Elves, Bringer of the Last Gift, opponent. Is that what we're doing? Oh, really needed a land there. Really, really, really needed a land. Okay, crash in. I'm not going to trade off, I think, this creature. I think it's fine to probably just do that, tap tap. And it's either plot Slickshot, it's plot Slickshot with in the eyes of a Bringer of the Last Gift. I don't really want to put stuff on the board, especially since I'm sitting here holding so many haste enablers. I can put out the Prowler if we end up getting here we go. Here we go. This is how we're going to end. This is how we're going to end things with an Elf, Bringer, this is how insane Bringer of the Last Gift is. Because you can, I guess, yeah, why not? This is actually a pretty cool enabler. What I was going to say is you can play like a pseudo elf deck where you're loading up the field with elves and you're just fine wiping it all away with a superior Spider-Man. But that's not the case. What the case is this is just a really good enabler for Bringer of the Last Gift. Is this an elf? No, it's a human wizard. Of course this is an elf. So, yep. They had the on the play advantage. We missed our third land. They had the turn 4 Bringer. They have a slew of Spider-Man. Never. All right. Sometimes you can't even misplay because the opponent does that to you and you're just like, all right, fine. I guess I lose. I'm not going out like that. I'm not taking a game 10 loss against Superior Spider-Man. Yeah, okay, fine. We got our Higher Claw off the hop and then a whole bunch of Slickshot Show-Off stuff to hopefully seal the deal. And also a Picnic Ruiner. We do, maybe the lands are a little bit light. I think I'm on 20 lands, possibly, which is starting to feel like it might not be enough lands because what does that mean? What does that mean, opponent? Am I putting out the Picnic Ruiner or am I plotting the Slickshot? I think I'm plotting the Slickshot. We do want to get up to 3 or 4 lands is ideally. We can operate on 2 lands, but it's obviously a little bit better when we can get up to the full 3. That's fine. It's you know, not super fine, but it's fine enough. I suppose I just put the Prowler on the field, hope that they don't have another board wipe. And this is the kind of trauma that I've been facing, going up against Kavaros, going up against Day of Judgments, getting hit by Avengers Disassembled. This is kind of the way it's been for the last couple of days. So, we do have a lot of damage. Do I really want to go into open mana, though? That's the problem, and I think probably not so much. They must have some counterspell. So I think probably I'm just going to go a little bit easy here. Just Felonious Rage on the Burnout Bashtronaut. Attack in for 7. And have a pretty good follow-up, maybe? Inevitable Defeat? Sure. So this is going to actually not leave behind a creature, because this is when it dies, right? Inevitable Defeat just so happens to be like the ideal card to stop a Felonious Rage. That's a beating of a card. And it's crazy that these decks, I was actually talking about this with a friend the other day. It's crazy how often these 4-color decks are able to get their 4 colors. This is an opponent who's on 4 lands who has perfect 4-color mana. Think about that. They have red, white, black, and now blue. That is insane, right? Thankfully, a lot of mana is going to be leaving the format soon. Okay, what do they do? I don't have a choice here. I need to go as hard on the opponent as I possibly can. And it sucks because they could just have, I don't know, any number of things that stop this assault. And it's obviously, it's not quite enough. Oh, it's exact lethal damage. So if they have anything, they can survive. Wow. So sometimes the 4-color control deck has exact perfect mana, but sometimes the stupid mono red aggro list just has 17 points of damage out of nowhere. This game is in a place. All right, so that is a Rakdos Aggro video down, and overall, you know what? I kind of like these 2 cards quite a bit. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Nighthowl Pursuer coming out all that often. Like most of our turn 1 plays were Higher Claw and Burnout Bashtronaut, which is not so bad to see. These are probably better turn 1 plays than the Pursuer, but it would be kind of neat to see that Pursuer on 2 or on 1, and then being able to attack in for 3 damage on turn 2, but I don't even know if we got to maybe do it once or twice. Desolation Prowler, though, this card feels actually fantastic, and even when you are not using it to enable the Pursuer, just the flexibility of this card being a pretty cool blocker, being a great attacker,
being a fling target. Everything's great. I am a big fan of it. Overall, I think the deck is pretty cool. I don't know the way it needs to go forward. I actually kind of like the Picnic Ruiner more than maybe the Slickshot Show-Off plan. The Slickshot Show-Off plan, when we're not going like all in on spells and that, was kind of feeling a little bit wonky at times. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe it's not the ideal fit for something like this. But then again, it's Slickshot Show-Off, so it's just like, why wouldn't you put Slicky in your deck, right? That's the tough spot. So this is one of those decks that I think has some actual potential behind it. I just wish the Rakdos mana base were just a little bit better. It's just so awkward to have to play these, and then you play your starting town and you draw your starting town on turn 4. Like, we have 3 lands that are all requiring something big to happen, and when, you know, this card just like can be absolute trash in this deck. We have so many mana requirements, like really just the Pursuer, the Prowler, and the Ruiner and the Slickshot Show-Off, okay, are using generic mana. So if we don't have a basic land, this card is awful. I actually, you know what, I'm thinking this card should just be out of the deck right now. I don't even think it's worth having. It's probably Multiversal Passages being a little bit better than the Dark Fortress. Boy, oh boy, this card sucks. And then, you know, your starting town, we need to be doing things on curve. And if this is your turn 4 land, boy, does that suck. Obviously, also Blazemire Verge, a little bit awful because on turn 1 we only have our Pursuer that we want to be playing out, and if this is the land that we have, like, things get real sketch. So I don't know. I think the mana base I need to look at a little bit more and figure out a better combination of cards. Maybe that was one of the things that was really holding back the overall oomph of the deck, because there were a lot of situations where the mana base was just like awkward. We have like a swamp sitting there and we have a handful of red cards. Can't play everything out to full efficiency. That's what this deck needs to do. So something to consider. But that's it for this one. Do leave all those wonderful comments and whatever you want to say down in the comment section, of course. Like the video, sub up if you haven't done so already. I do appreciate it, as always. Very, very much appreciate it. It is fantastic to see everybody coming out and commenting. Been saying it more and more these days. Thank you very much. Take care for now. I'll see you in the next video. Sang Ipana, and bye-bye.